you are ready to do your first UV print with your brand new Omni, any model Omni, you are in the right spot. I am going to tell you exactly what to do and what not to do. The number one mistake that I see from beginners across the board, regardless of which printer or cutter they have, is the same for everyone. You want to do all the things. Guess what? You're not going to do all the things just yet. You are going to learn the fundamentals. You are going to learn the problems. You are going to take the samples that they give you that didn't cost you anything, and that is what you are going to do. What you are not going to do is put your laptop in here. You're not going to put your phone case in here. You are not going to take an order from your neighbor who wants something customized and put it in here. You're not going to do that yet. You're going to do that later, after you have figured out how and why and what is happening when you mess up a 2x3 or whatever size this magnet is. Then you can learn from that and be like, oh, let me try it on the next magnet. Not quite right. Okay, finally, third time's a charm, and I got it. And then you will be ready to move on, okay? So you're gonna add the texture later. You're gonna add the complication things later. You're gonna do all those other fun, super things while you got your machine later. But for your first project, you're gonna grab the magnets that came in the box, and we are gonna do this together, and you are gonna be done in no time. Let's go. First things first, we are going to take all 3 magnets and we are going to place them on our flatbed. Now, why are we doing all 3? Well, because the Omni, once it scans, once it has the visual, and then you don't have to scan again. So even though the first one we're going to print on is just 1, if we have them all here, then we will only have to scan once, and we'll save a bunch of time, and we won't have to scan again. Now, if the first one comes out perfect and you don't want to need to test these, you're in good shape. But we are going to put them all on there to start with, and now we're going to move over to the software. Before we scan, we are going to make sure that our Omni is connected. So we're going to click the little button at the top and tell it to connect by Wi-Fi. If you haven't set up Wi-Fi, I go over that in the full, complete, start to finish setup video. So now we're good on that. And what we are going to do is make sure that our mode is set to UV flatbed mode. That is correct. We want to change our material. So in this case, I'm going to type in magnet and see if it comes up. Ceramic fridge magnet. Perfect. So that's what they sent us. And nothing looks any different yet. Okay, so first, this is where we are going to scan. So we're going to press scan. So your machine is going to start moving around, and what it's doing is it's going to measure the height of the item that's on the flatbed, and it's also going to measure the exact position that it's in, so that it knows how to accurately print and where to accurately print, okay? So that's what is happening here. Now, once that is complete, you're going to see a preview in your software. Okay, see how I have my preview now? The other thing that you are going to notice is that my magnets aren't even like straight, right? Like this one's a little bit crooked. Okay, so we are going to, as I said, only work on 1 magnet first, okay? So what we are going to do is we are not going to start by trying to fully cover the magnet, because that brings in other complications. So we are just going to import an image, and we are going to print it directly in the middle of our magnet, okay? So here's my image. I just went to import and imported it. Let me zoom out so we can see a little bit. All right, so we're just going to size it down, and we'll work with this magnet right here. And let me scoot back in. And obviously it's too big, so I'm going to scale it down for right now. And I'm just going to place it visually what's in the middle. I also want to slightly rotate since my magnet is not 100%. Now up here I'm just going to put it at 1. Okay, so this is my design. This is super simple, and the design is in position. So when I click on my design, I get additional options, and that's what you want. So we are going to work in normal mode and not spot color. And then we have to come over here, and we've got all these options. Now, what do all of these options mean? First of all, if there's a plus sign, it means that both of those are different layers. So color
plus varnish means that color is going to print first and then varnish on top. White plus color means white is going to print first and then color on top. This one is the opposite. Color would print first and then white. You're rarely going to use this, but there are like transparent acrylic, for example. You might use one of these two. Okay? But for right now, we are going to use white and color. And you might be saying, well, Melissa, the magnet is white. Why do I need to put a layer of white down? I have a whole video on how putting at least one layer, or I would say one layer, not at least, but one layer of white, 2 layers of white, probably at most, really helps to give your color layer a base, and it gives you better quality UV prints. So if you don't do this, and I'll show you that video in the description, you're going to end up with blotchy prints. So this is what I would recommend doing. And then you can adjust how many layers you want. Okay, so 1 layer of white is probably fine. 1 layer of color is probably fine. We are not adding texture right yet. Again, this is a beginner video. We are not adding relief. We are just going to do it flat. Now, if you want to see what that's going to look like, it's going to look like this. If you were looking at it from the back, you would see white and then color. So the way that UV printing works is white is laid down first, or in this case, white is laid down first and color on the top, okay? All right, so we are at this point ready to go. We can click process, and it's going to tell us how long this is going to take. So our little magnet is going to take about 5 minutes. If we want to see what the estimated cost is, it's telling us, but the cost itself is actually showing as 0. That's just probably a bug in the software. Okay, so we'll click print, and you don't even need to go over to your machine to tell it to start. It will just begin printing. Now, I will tell you that sometimes, depending on if you've already printed today or whatever, it's going to tell you that it needs to clean the print head. And here we go. So this will add time. This is not part of that nearly 5 minutes, okay? The printing is what is going to take 5 minutes. This part takes additional time before that.
That was probably at least a minute, maybe close to 2 minutes between when I clicked print and when it actually started printing. Now, what you can see is that I'm working on that magnet that's closest to the middle, like it's the one on the far left. The print head is not fully going across the entire width of the printer, okay? So it's only going in the area of the magnet itself where it's printing. So this is the white layer that's going down, which might be why you're wondering, like, why does it look like nothing's happening? Well, it's putting the white down first.
Now, remember how I said that we were going to do all 3 magnets on that flatbed at the beginning? So if I go back to finished, now my magnets are still there. This is a difference because the UV Make doesn't do this. You have to rescan every time. So now what I can do is, let's say I want to print the same one and I want to experiment with doing some texture on here. I'm going to move this same file over. Now, granted, I don't have the preview, because if I preview, I'm going to have to wait another 5 or however many minutes it takes to do that. But it's fine. I didn't move any of the magnets. So this is where this one's going to go. So now let's say I want to click some texture, and we want the texture to be, well, we're not really sure what it's going to look like. Well, we can do our preview like this, and we can see that there's going to be some texture. Now, what you're going to see is that this one is going to take longer because I am adding texture. And the thicker the texture is, the longer it's going to take. So it looks like it's going to basically indent where this black area is, okay? So I'm going to make it even a little bit thicker so that we can get an even more dramatic effect. And let's process that one. Now remember, the other one took about 5 minutes. So let's see how long this one's going to estimate. 20 minutes. So that's why it's really, really important for you to be aware of what the processes and how they are different. And this is exactly why I said we're not going to start with this, because if you started with this, you would be like, what? It's going to take 20 minutes. But you need to be aware that that's going to give you texture. Now, I am going to print this just so you guys can see what the differences are. I do have a whole separate video of what different textures and effects look like, so I'll toss you over to that. But if you are here, if you have gotten to this point and your first print was a success, congratulations, you are ready to move on to your next step.